What's up, everybody? So I actually had to go through the ringer to get this video done. As you can see, I'm not at home. I'm in a hotel room. I'm visiting my brother up in Washington, and we live down in Georgia, so it was quite a trip. Sorry for not having a video for the past 5 days. Something just keeps coming up. I'm going to try to go ahead and get at least 3 videos out this week so that you guys have some stuff to watch while I'm gone. I know the quality isn't going to be as, good as it is at home, but I'm not going to take a step back from editing. I'm still going to try to edit the videos a decent amount and, give you guys something to look at while you watch. It's just a bit difficult to stay on track with everything when you are out of state. So I had to actually go down to the hotel business room, write the video, and then print it out because I was trying to just write it on here and, look at the script while I'm talking, but that wasn't possible. Apparently you can't do that. So that sucks. But anyway, today we're going to be doing something pretty interesting, and that is the top free agents that are still left out on the market for the New Orleans Saints to pick up. I've been actually pondering doing this idea for quite a bit, and I think that it'd be nice to look at what targets are still out there as far as free agents go. We just let go of Larry Warford, saved about $9 million against the cap, so we do have, I believe, $9.2 million in cap space to go ahead and spend. So there's going to be some players out there that we can look at. We already signed Ty Montgomery, which was a great discussion topic. But today we're going to be talking about what's still out there and players that we can still get. I left out some positions for this video, admittingly, because some of them just aren't needs. I left out safety because we don't need a safety. We already got Malcolm Jenkins. I left out running back because Lord knows we don't need a running back in free agency. I left out quarterback because we don't need one either. And I left out offensive lineman because we already addressed that. So that's how it is there. But I'm going to go ahead and get into some positions that we need and one player for each of those positions, the best player at each of those positions that the New Orleans Saints should go ahead and acquire. So let's get into it. The first position I have on this list is the cornerback. And here I have Darqueze Dennard from the Cincinnati.
I don't know how I managed to get his name wrong, his first name and last name, but it's Darqueze Dennard, not Darqueze Dennard. Dear God.
Cincinnati Bengals. The reason that I have him here is because of the fact that we have issues with Eli Apple. He had a falling out contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. He didn't end up going and traveling there and playing there. So we don't really know where he stands. He's still currently a free agent. We don't know if the Saints are going through, and making contract negotiations with him. It would be nice to have him back, but as far as, things are going right now, we don't really know if that's the case. So Dennard played a shortened season last year due to injury, only playing in 9 games. But when he was on the field, he was absolutely phenomenal. He allowed a completion percentage of just 48.6%, which is so insane to me. He in 235 snaps played, he played them all in the slot and was only targeted 26 times. 26 times. So this dude was in the slot for 235 snaps, and they only thought it was a good idea to throw his way 26 times. He allowed a lowly 68.4 QBR when targeted, which is amazing, and it ranked first among all slot corners in the league. He also had 5 passes defended on 35 total targets, which is a really good number to have. Yeah, like I said, with the uncertainty of Eli Apple, we're going to go ahead and need to get some type of corner. It just seems like something that is of utmost importance as far as depth goes, because we have Marshawn Lattimore, Janoris Jenkins, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But if somebody goes down, we're going to need somebody to go ahead and really take a good depth position. The only question with bringing in a player of this caliber is where we would put him. Like I said, our secondary is pretty locked down. You got Malcolm Jenkins and Marcus Williams at safety, Marshawn Lattimore and Janoris Jenkins at corner, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the slot. So we could go for a lighter depth option, like a 30-year-old Dre Kirkpatrick type of player who could also provide veteran leadership. But if you want to go with a very, very talented player that could really step in and make an impact, Darqueze Dennard is the way to go. He is a very talented player. He had a 72.2 Pro Football Focus grade, which, of course, Pro Football Focus isn't gospel. But as I say, in every video I mention Pro Football Focus in, it is the most easy metric for everybody to be on board with. And I think that he is a phenomenal corner that the New Orleans Saints should not hesitate to pull the trigger on if the opportunity arises. If not, don't dig at it. Let's go ahead and move into the next position, which I have wide receiver. And I've seen a lot of people mention this player, and I think it's a really interesting pick and something that could go well, very well, and that's wide receiver Taylor Gabriel from Chicago. By adding a couple of undrafted free agent pickups and a splash player with Emmanuel Sanders, the New Orleans Saints have done the best they can do to address the extremely glaring issue at the wide receiver position. However, with the weak wide receiver core, with how weak it's been over the last couple of years, snagging a cheap, speedy, and proven option like Taylor Gabriel makes absolutely perfect sense. Taylor Gabriel makes up for what he lacks in size with speed. At only 5'7", but running a 4.40, which is extremely fast, Gabriel has spent 6 years in the league proving that he can fill his role very well and has even showed an extreme amount of big play potential. Taylor is extremely good at running simple routes like curls or slants, but the defense always has to keep an eye out for him because with his speed, he could completely change the game in one play. Seriously, it's awesome. Chicago stole Ted Ginn Jr., so why not go ahead and take Gabriel from him? After playing with Mitch Trubisky for years, I'm sure he would love playing with a quarterback like Drew Brees. His best full season was in 2018 with 67 receptions for 688 yards and 2 touchdowns. In 2019, he only played 9 games, but had 29 receptions for 353 yards and 4 touchdowns. He can make a fantastic depth piece and even be a serious weapon in New Orleans. You know, Drew loves his small, fast guys. The only reason I could see us not bringing in someone like this is with the emergence of Deontay Harris. But other than that, I don't think it's a bad idea for the New Orleans Saints to at least do some due diligence on Taylor Gabriel. I don't think we need another big possession wide receiver, and Emmanuel Sanders fills that role of a speedy, middle-sized guy. So getting another little dude that can run around the field and really cause problems would not be a bad idea for New Orleans at all. You can never give a quarterback too many weapons, so I would do our due diligence on Taylor Gabriel just because of how weak our wide receiver core has been over the past couple of years, and every time we've tried to fix it, it hasn't worked. So if they want to go ahead and buff it up just a little bit more, that option is always there. So let's move on to the next position. Here I have linebacker, and I have Nigel Bradham from Philly. Nigel was released by Philly extremely early into the offseason, specifically to free up some cap space for future endeavors for Philadelphia. The New Orleans Saints managed to grab a couple of linebackers this offseason, drafting an absolute steal in Zach Bond and picking up undrafted free agent linebacker Joe Bachie. Bachie? I keep forgetting. Either way, I'm really bad at pronouncing names. You guys know who he is. But with Alex Anzalone never finishing a season without injury, and Kiko Alonso likely being out until around week 8, recovering from a bad ACL injury, a torn ACL, you'd think adding some veteran linebacker depth would be seriously considered in the New Orleans Saints' future. In 58 games with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he started every single one of them, Bradham racked up 348 tackles, 229 were solo. Add to that 5 sacks, 22 pass breakups, 2 picks, 3 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, and 2 defensive touchdowns. Sure, after returning from his injury in 2019, he seemed to step slower and didn't tackle as well. But I think he could be a very great single-digit contract signing as far as a 1 year to $5 million, 1 year $6 million, whatever. That could be a plug-and-play starter in certain situations or simply fantastic depth. I don't think the New Orleans Saints would mind signing him, and I don't think that he would mind doing a little bit of ring chasing himself. He has said that he wanted to go back to Philadelphia, but adding someone like this would be a great move as far as depth goes. And like I said, this dude can ball. He's a little bit old and he's a little bit slower, and he may not be the best tackling linebacker in the league, and some of you may have been completely turned off from him off of what I just said. But when you look at the Saints linebacker situation and how people have been going down, you can never have enough depth. And I think that adding someone like this who mentally can just provide so much off of that alone to the linebacker group, I think it would be a good idea, and I think that the New Orleans Saints wouldn't hesitate to pull the trigger, like I say, if the opportunity arose. But let's go ahead and move on to the last position, and I kind of merged a bunch of positions together. This is for defensive end and defensive tackle, one player for the defensive line. You guys all know who I'm about to say, Everson Griffin from Minnesota. Man, oh man, have I seen you guys talking about the possibility of this signing. Everson decided to void the final 3 years of his Minnesota Vikings contract, taking an absolute humongous chance that hasn't paid off yet. He's still sitting on the free agent market with no contract, just straight chilling. He hasn't been signed by anybody. He hasn't really been negotiating with anybody. He's just kind of sitting there teams have very obviously not been prioritizing signing defensive ends. And this is what I think really plays in New Orleans' favor if they want to make a signing like this. Nobody's signing defensive ends right now as far as Everson Griffin goes. He could probably would consider taking a smaller deal to play with a serious contending powerhouse. That's just it, straight up. That's it right there. At the start of the 2019 season, things were looking fantastic for the New Orleans Saints defensive line. It was looking amazing. They were putting pressure on the quarterback. They were, stopping the run. They were getting sacks. They were doing everything they needed to do. What more could you ask for? But later down the line, they faced a flurry of issues, and that was the yearly ritual of injuries to Sheldon Rankins and Marcus Davenport. They both got hurt. So that was something that we needed to, address early. And I think that, having a player like Everson Griffin could, really give us a really good depth option who should be starting. And he could even beat out Marcus Davenport for the starting job. Who knows? But yeah, Davenport got hurt, and so did Sheldon Rankins, which sucks because they were both on pace for greatness. Griffin would provide amazing depth and could literally be a starter, as he had 8 sacks last season, which would have been good for second on the New Orleans Saints roster, only behind, of course, Cameron Jordan. Oh, he also clapped us in the playoffs. Everson Griffin absolutely beat our cheeks in the playoffs, and I think we're all aware of how that went down, and it wasn't nice. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. What free agents did the New Orleans Saints go after this offseason? I'm quite curious to see who we are going to get in this final stretch of this period where people are still signing players, and the final 53-man roster isn't quite final yet. So it'll be nice to see if we decide to, maybe negotiate with a couple of people. If not, that's okay. I feel like we have like 80-something people on our roster. There's a lot of competition that's going to be going down. I really hope we have a camp because of this, because the camp battles are going to be absolutely insane. But regardless of that, I'll see you boys in the next one. I really appreciate you stopping by. Again, I'm sorry for the quality of videos lately. It's just, I don't really know what else to do here, but I'm going to try to give you guys the content you deserve. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios.